Football used to be known as a simple game. 11 versus 11, the referee's decision was final, and everything happened in a single, unchangeable flow of time. But since the introduction of VAR, that reality has completely changed. Decisions that were once instant can now be delayed, overturned, or even reversed after players had already celebrated a goal. In some extreme cases, VAR doesn't just correct decisions, it erases moments that millions of people had already accepted as real. What makes the situation even heated is not just whether decisions are right or wrong, but how they're made. Long delays, chaotic communication, and even technology failures. From the World Cup to the Olympics, from the Champions League to domestic leagues, VAR has produced some of the most absurd moments in modern football history. And in this video, we'll look at 5 cases that are not just controversial, but have truly changed the way we see the game. Argentina versus Morocco, Paris Olympics 2024. The opening football match between Argentina and Morocco at the 2024 Olympics initially played out like a normal game until the intense closing moments. Argentina, featuring players like Julian Alvarez and Thiago Almada, trailed 2-1 and kept pushing forward. The drama peaked in the 90+16th minute when Argentina scored an equalizer from a rebound, immediately followed by massive celebrations. Players, staff, and fans believed they had secured a crucial point. However, the atmosphere changed drastically when Moroccan supporters began throwing objects onto the pitch, with some even entering the field, forcing the referee to stop the match. Amid the chaos, players were sent to the dressing rooms, and most spectators assumed the game had ended 2-2. What happened next was even more absurd than the chaos itself. After nearly 2 hours of delay, players were called back onto the pitch. VAR was still reviewing Argentina's goal. The final decision shocked everyone. The goal was disallowed due to an offside in the build-up. The match resumed for just a few minutes with no additional goals, and the score reverted to 1-2 in favor of Morocco. This situation sparked outrage from the Argentine side, including players and coaches who felt that the reality of the match had been rewound. This was not just a correction, it felt like VAR erased a moment that had already happened in front of the world. This case became one of the most extreme examples of how VAR can disrupt the timeline of football and create realities that feel illogical. Japan versus Spain, World Cup 2022. The group stage match between Japan and Spain at the 2022 World Cup became one of the most decisive games in modern tournament history. Japan, needing a win to advance, delivered an incredible second-half performance. The controversial moment came when the ball appeared to have gone out of play before being crossed back into the box by a Japanese player, leading to a goal. Many Spanish players, including Rodri, briefly stopped, convinced the ball had gone out. From television angles, the ball seemed completely out. However, play continued until the goal was scored. The referee then paused the match to wait for VAR, while tension built inside the stadium and around the world. After a lengthy review, VAR made a shocking decision. The ball was ruled to still be touching the line by mere millimeters. The goal stood, Japan took the lead, and eventually won 2-1. The impact was massive. Japan advanced as group winners, while Spain finished second. The decision sparked global debate about whether technology should override human visual perception. Many felt it was technically correct, but emotionally wrong. This became a clear example of the clash between technological logic and human intuition in modern football, where VAR can create realities that are difficult to accept. Rosenborg versus Lillestrøm, Norwegian League 2024. The match between Rosenborg and Lillestrøm in 2024 initially seemed like a routine domestic game. However, a series of VAR decisions perceived as unfair by one side began to spark tension in the stands. Fans felt that the technology, which was supposed to help, was instead disrupting the flow of the match. As decisions were seen as inconsistent, emotions escalated. The situation turned chaotic when fans started throwing objects onto the pitch, including food and other items. The referee eventually stopped the match to ensure the safety of players and officials. However, the temporary suspension was not enough. The situation in the stadium became increasingly uncontrollable, and security struggled to calm the crowd. After several failed attempts to resume the match, the decision was made to abandon it permanently. This is one of the rare cases where VAR not only influenced the result, but actually caused a match to be unfinished. The impact spread across the Norwegian league, with many questioning whether VAR was damaging the essence of football. This case shows that technology, if not accepted by the public, can become a trigger for conflicts far beyond decisions on the pitch. Newcastle vs Manchester City 2026. The match between Newcastle United and Manchester City in 2026 became an example of how technology can fail at a crucial moment. In an important goal situation, VAR was required to check for a possible offside. However, the semi-automated offside system, usually highly accurate, experienced a technical malfunction. Player and ball position data could not be processed correctly, leaving the VAR team struggling to make a decision. The stadium was filled with confusion as there was no clarity, while players waited without knowing what was happening. The review process lasted around 5 minutes, a very long time in the context of a football match. In the end, the referee had to revert to manual judgment. The goal that had already been celebrated was eventually disallowed, triggering protests from players and coaches. This case proved that VAR is not a perfect solution. When technology fails, the impact is even greater because everyone has become dependent on it. It highlights how modern football is now in a vulnerable position, overly reliant on systems that are not always reliable. Manchester City vs Tottenham, Champions League 2019. The Champions League quarter-final between Manchester City and Tottenham is one of the most dramatic matches in history. In a game that ended 4-3 for City, the decisive moment came late when Sergio Aguero assisted Raheem Sterling, who scored what seemed to be the winning goal. The Etihad Stadium erupted in celebration as the goal appeared to send City to the semi-finals. Players, coaches, and fans celebrated as if the match had already been won. But VAR changed everything once again. After review, it was determined that Aguero had been marginally offside before providing the assist. The goal was disallowed, and Tottenham advanced instead. Pep Guardiola's reaction became a symbol of modern football frustration. Emotions built over 90 minutes, destroyed in seconds by a digital line. This case sparked major debate about whether millimeter-level offside decisions are truly fair. It was a moment when VAR was seen as correct by the rules but cruel in emotion. From these 5 cases, one thing is clear. VAR is no longer just a supporting tool. It has become a major factor capable of altering football history. From goals disallowed 2 hours later, to balls that never went out despite appearances, to matches abandoned due to fan reactions, all show that this technology is still far from perfect. Football today is not just about what happens on the pitch, but also about how decisions are made in unseen control rooms. The question is no longer whether VAR is necessary, but how far are we willing to accept its consequences? Do we want football that is technically perfect, or one that remains emotionally alive? So, what do you think? Is VAR saving football or ruining it? From all these cases, which one feels the most unbelievable? Write your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because in the VAR era, even truth itself can be debated.